Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm a wife of an addict in recovery, and I'm also recovering myself from codependency. Good Tuesday morning. Today, I wanted to come on and do a live about what other things can we do for our loved ones when they're in active addiction besides just boundaries. You know, I'm going to hit on that topic because I really do believe also that boundaries are very, very important to help someone really see, unfortunately, the wreckage in which addiction causes. And if you've been in my previous lives, we need to remember that addiction is not just something that randomly happens. When someone continues to use, it physically alters and changes the brain, okay? So they no longer work with their frontal lobe, with the logic and reasoning. They're now working with their midbrain and the survival responses, which are 15 seconds. So a lot of times it feels like they don't even have that capacity to really look around and take in the long game. You can come in and say hi. And so that's why boundaries are important. But we're going to go deeper into other things. Come on in. You can say hi.
I want a strawberry tea bar.
Yeah, because you ate it all, silly goose. Here's Maria Reese. She wants to say, good morning, Donna. Good morning, Hakan. Good morning, Shannon. Go ahead, Maurice. What do you want to say?
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Lynn.
Donna.
Donna.
Good morning, Hakan.
Good morning, Hakan.
All right, baby. So, guys.
Hi.
Say bye.
Bye. Hi.
So the things that we're going to talk about today are other ways, because I do know once we hold those hard boundaries.
Are you getting warm?
I am. When we slowly detach, it can feel like we are leaving somebody or abandoning somebody. I want you to know, though, before we really go into this, you are not leaving somebody and you are not abandoning somebody. Reason why I firmly, for me, believe that is because we do need to remember that we don't just randomly get up and leave. We don't randomly get up and choose a different path. This is something that usually has gone on for extremely long while, with a lot of, I'm going to do this time, or I'm going to go here, I'm going to do this, and a lack of follow through. So we slowly lose trust. And usually it happens over years, to be completely honest, months or years. And we need to remember that we did not just get up and leave. We gave multiple choices and chances for a loved one to seek recovery. And we do know, and this is true, we can only do so much for our loved one in addiction, okay? We can't choose recovery for them. So we're kind of, if we just are focusing on that individual, then we truthfully could live a lifetime in addiction, because we are not in control of, does it get chosen for recovery or not. So I just want everyone to really understand, we're not abandoning, we're not leaving. We're making a choice because of other people's choices to protect ourselves. So I understand where other people are coming from, which are usually addicts in either active addiction or very early recovery, with the belief of, you've left me. And now, truthfully, that is their feelings. I'm not saying that they do not feel that way. They absolutely can feel that way. However, as we've heard, feelings are not facts. And we do need to remember that this usually does take time, over months and months, even years and years. So we did not just randomly go, you know what, because this person is in a difficult situation, I'm going to get up, I'm going to leave. No, it's been countless times over those years trying to stand by somebody, but it gets to the point where it affects us immensely, and we make that decision. And I'm also going to leave you with what Laura said to me when I did tell Laura about how can you leave someone you care about. Laura said, Anna, you're not leaving Mitchell. Mitchell left you a long time ago. Mitchell left himself a long time ago. The person you're leaving now is the addict. And that was very true. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there right in the beginning to let people know, because I do know when we're saying, what more can we do, Anna, when we feel like we've abandoned someone, generally it's not just our own feelings or beliefs that are kind of ticking off and saying, this is what happened. We're hearing from the addict, and sometimes even people in our lives, that we've left someone. I want someone to know that you're not leaving somebody. Unfortunately, you know, we're left with a choice that's very difficult and hard to make. So what can we do after the fact if that happens, or if we're in the point in time right now still trying to detach? Okay, So there's a few things that I was taught that we could do. One is called an impact letter, okay? An impact letter is something that family members can write. It's almost kind of in a sense like an intervention within the family. And what that looks like is you're going to sit down, you're going to type up, or you're going to write down on a paper all your feelings in which the addiction has impacted you. How has it impacted your love life? How has it impacted your intimacy? How has it impacted your children? How has it impacted the family unit? Work? How has it impacted finances, friendships, the way you feel mentally, physically, everything you can think of in, excuse me, in the way that the addiction has impacted you. And what we were taught is if there's a whole family, if the whole family can write their own individual letter, here we go, as the letter states, it creates more of an impact. And the reason why you want to do this, you're not going to do this when someone's in active addiction and hand it over to them. They're not going to listen to you. You are going to hand them to them after, we all know they happen, one of those big events that we all get upset or very hurt. You are to take that letter and you are to hand it to them when they are sober. Okay? And that doesn't mean that within the next couple hours that they're not going to use again, but in that time frame when they are sober, you are going to give them your impact letter, because the hope is that it will make an impact. And no matter what, it will create a seed, and they will have that to really understand that their addiction does impact people around them. So they will have that. So again, my impact letter, I did read my impact letter a few times, I believe, here on We Are Recovery, or at least once, and I did on those private Zoom meetings that we did for a while. And what I did was I did write down everything in which I expressed to you how it impacted my family, friends, myself, the love I had for Mitchell, intimacy, finances massively, the way I felt inside. One of the big ones is I was originally here still in Massachusetts, but we moved to Washington, Pennsylvania, so Mitchell could take control of the family business. I really felt regret for doing that. Reason being is because what we thought was going to happen didn't happen. The addiction got worse. So I wrote that down as well. I wrote a lot of impact about the finances. I wrote experiences also, guys. Experiences that were really in my mind. I wrote those down and expressed it. And I remember people asking Laura, like, how impactful should it be? And, you know, should we say this might really get them upset. This might hurt them. She said, it's an impact letter. The point of the impact letter is to make an impact, to show that the addiction has really caused an impact on everyone's lives. So you're supposed to write everything in there, guys. You really want to be honest. And now this isn't just for the addict in our lives to get some understanding. It's really for us also to get our feelings and our thoughts out and fully express ourselves down in one sitting. So for me, you can write an impact letter either if someone is in active addiction, but again, please make sure that you give them the letter when they're having a moment of sobriety. That way it hits home more. And yes, I know this is hard to hear. Truthfully, the best time to probably give an impact letter is when they're really feeling it and they're feeling that regret and that shame and guilt, just because it's more of seeing like, this is really how bad it is. And, you know, we want you to get help. So an impact letter is something. You can also write an impact letter. When I wrote my impact letter, it was when my loved one was in rehab. So if you have a loved one right now in rehab, write an impact letter. It's honestly the best time because they're around their support system, like counselors and therapists and groups, so that if they have any feelings about it of sadness, regret, shame, or guilt, they can process it with the support around them. So it's very good to write it then, okay? Another thing we can do is the one that I actually liked more for me than the impact letter. Now, I will tell you though, the impact letter was a good opportunity for me to get everything out at once and have Mitchell see it. Okay. So it's an impact letter is not bad. I know I needed to do an impact letter. The one that hits home a bit more for me though, and it's because it's after I learned how to separate the addict from the true individual. I wrote 2 separate letters. Okay. So I wrote one letter to the addict and I wrote one letter to Mitchell. What that looked like is the letter to the addict. I wrote out all my frustration, my anger, my pain, my hurt, and truthfully, what it was a goodbye letter. Okay, I was at that point and I was ready. It was not an ultimatum. And why was it not an ultimatum? Because it was not a threat. I was ready to go if the addiction did not stop. So for me, writing the letter to the addict was a goodbye letter. Because if the addict remained, I was leaving. I was no longer going to participate in the addict's insanity. Okay, so again, writing a letter to the addict was everything about my hurts, my pains, my frustrations, and I put certain experiences in there again, but it was absolutely a goodbye letter to let the addict know that they were no longer going to have control over my life. And at the end, I did say goodbye to the addict. On the other hand, I wrote a letter to Mitchell. What that looked like is all the reasons of why I was still holding on. All the memories I had of Mitchell that I wished just still continued. All the hopes that I had of Mitchell and I into the future. And what I missed about Mitchell. And all the, I hope you really get this. And the reason why I need to leave right now is because if I don't leave right now and you do get recovery, there's going to be no chance because I am taking the last shred of light that I have and I cannot let the addict have it. So for me, it was talking about wanting, in the hopes of still wanting to create a family with Mitchell and for us to, you know, be there together when I had my first child, that it would be our first child, you know, just all these hopes that I had, I put into that letter. So it was really frustrations and anger, really getting out at the addict, but then all my sadness, and talking to Mitchell. So for me, that's another thing that we can do, write one letter to the addict, one letter to the true individual. I also have another live here on We Are Recovery where I read both those letters. I did that twice. The first one was definitely more emotional. I read that one when we were still in pretty early recovery. So that one's far back in the We Are Recovery videos. And then the second one, I read it, I feel, about a year ago on a Monday night. So that was that. Other things that we can do, guys, if our loved ones are already out on the streets, what we can do is when we're still holding boundaries, we can send over resources. And something that I said last night, just to let everyone know, the Salvation Army has a free recovery program for anybody that wants it. I'm actually, I believe that they actually even have housing for somebody that wants to work a recovery. So the Salvation Army has a free program, a free resource for anybody that wants recovery. And you can start going on right now onto their website and go to it, and it will start giving you details of how to get involved with that. Because I know not everyone has that insurance company, you know, the insurance to pay for them, and we're paying out of pocket. And I'll tell you, that's another problem here. When somebody wants to seek help, it shouldn't be thousands and thousands of dollars to save a life, to save a family. In all honesty, we should be doing better with that as a society, of having resources available, because 12-step programs are great, but I also believe there are severities to addiction, just like if you have stages of a cancer. And I do believe that sometimes 12-step programs will work for some people. However, I do believe that if someone is in a higher stage, you know, sometimes, again, it will work. 12-step programs will work for that individual. But just like learning is not a one-size-fits-all. That's why teachers are taught to teach in various ways. The same goes here. 12-step programs are sometimes not going to be what someone needs, and sometimes it's also not going to be enough. We need to add on other things like outpatients, inpatients, therapies, all different types of things that need to be put into a program. So it's not a one-size-fit-all approach, and that's what makes it so difficult with addiction and recovery. It's not this one-size-fits-all. We have to find different ways. Other things you could do is Go to AA.com. I know we just said that 12-step programs don't fit for all, but it absolutely can be a start, and it can fit for some people, okay? So go to AA.com. Get a list of meetings in your area. Print it out. And when you're at that point where, you know, something happened in the addiction and you're really hurt, you can look at someone and hold the boundary and support at the same time and go, look, what you did the other night, it really hurt me. And because of it, I need to detach for a while and take some time and process. Here's some meetings if you want it. Slide it their way. You don't ask them, are you going to meetings? Are you going to, you gave the resources, slide it that way. Okay. So that way, there it is. They don't even have to go onto the website. They don't even need to search. They don't need to go through that. You just slid them over all the meetings in the area. Same can go for therapists in the other area. Others can go for, we've done this before and it's helped a lot of family members. If you have a insurance card in your pocket, okay, and you know that your loved one has the same insurance or something like that, you always can reach out to Mitchell and I, and you can take a picture of their insurance card front and back, okay, and give us their birthday and their full name. We can have their insurance run by an absolutely amazing human being out in Utah. Now, I will say this is not going to be generally for state insurance. It will be the insurance if you have that, unfortunately, really good insurance that's more of nation-based and do other places cover your insurance. Reason being is because Mitchell and I have helped people out in the past get out into rehabs out in Utah. And as you heard Mitchell say last night, Utah recovery, honestly, is really good, okay? Utah, just in general, around the Salt Lake area, they have very, very good recovery programs. And it's not just even recovery programs. They have really good recovery community out there. They have a lot of sober activities. So it creates that camaraderie out there and that support network, not just in an inpatient or outpatient, but out in society as well. So if anybody has an insurance card, you can send it out here. It doesn't do anything to your insurance. We just get a paper that says how much you would have to pay out of pocket, or if your insurance covers anything. And why that is really good even for family members, because when we come to those hard moments, and you know what they are, usually that's when we get the strength and the confidence to speak up, is when something big happens, right? Well, now this time, if you know that, you know what, there is an opportunity to go to this rehab out there, you can slide that across the table and again go, what you did and what happened last night really hurt me. And I really need to take some time to process what I want to do moving forward. Here, I ran the insurance already, and if you want to, you are fully covered at this inpatient rehab out in Utah, and it's up to you. Slide it again across the table, okay? And you can also, guys, on the back of the insurance card, usually there is a member's number, and there's also a mental health number. If the mental health number is in there, give it a call, okay? You can call for them. This is the rule of thumb that I was taught by Laura. Is it enabling? Is it enabling that we're doing this for them? She always told me it's not enabling if it's in recovery. So meaning as we're not going to keep doing weeks and weeks of this. This is a one-time thing that we're either going to go figure out the AA meetings in the area. Thank you, thumbs up. At least I know it's because I actually put a thumbs up this time. We're going to find out therapists in the area that is covered under their insurance. We're going to call the back of a insurance card for them and get a list of inpatients or outpatients in the area that are fully covered. Why it is not enabling is, think about it this way. You know, when we're really discouraged, or we're really hurt, or we're really in the midst of our feelings and emotions, that shame and guilt. What's hard here is, even for us, it's hard for us to act in those moments, right? We feel really bogged down. We feel really stuck. What's difficult with addiction is it goes even further in that, okay? There are only glimmers and sparks sometimes where all of a sudden somebody really wants it of recovery. They're like, I'm going to do it this time. Addiction swoops back in very quickly and can take over them. That is why it's one of those things that it is okay if you're getting a list of resources for them and slide it across the table, even though you're doing the work. Reason being is because you did that work, you're also utilizing a very short time frame a lot of the times of when they're feeling guilt, shame, and they're like, I want to do this. That is the time to act. That is the time that is the most potent to get somebody into recovery right there. And again, I use the words, and I should reframe it. We can't get someone into recovery, but I will say that is the highest possibility when someone is feeling feelings and emotions. That is the time frame, because I will tell you, you can have people that really want it, and if you don't act in that time frame, all of a sudden they don't want to anymore. So when we know, well, here's some inpatients and outpatients. Thank you again, thumbs up. Inpatients and outpatients in the area, and I know that they're going to cover. It helps family members also calm and go, you know what? I didn't just leave them. I gave them resources. Okay, so let's just go over that one more time again. Is you can write an impact letter. An impact letter is going to be writing everything down in which the addiction has impacted you, okay? Finances, family life, your kids, yourself, intimacy, work life, and so much more. What did it impact? What fears did it bring about? What insecurities? And also bringing up those experiences. You are to give them to that letter into what we just expressed, that time frame. Don't give it to someone that's in active addiction, okay? It's not going to work. But if you get someone the next morning that's feeling regret, shame, and guilt, you are to hand them that impact letter. And yes, it's going to be difficult and hard because you're already seeing someone when they're down. But unfortunately, that is the time frame where the massive possibilities of someone wanting recovery is there. Not in use, not when they're in their ego. The other one is writing one letter to the addict, one letter to the true individual. So what it's going to look like is the addict, you're going to get all your anger, your frustration, all that just out at them. And for me, it is writing a goodbye letter when you're ready to the addict and basically saying that you're not going to enable the addict anymore. You're not going to focus on the addict anymore. You're done with it. Okay? It is a goodbye letter. The letter to your true individual is all the hopes that you still have, the good memories you have, the things you love about them, the things you miss, and that you still support them and you hope you're going to get it. But again, you're not going to support the addict. You are going to support them, but you are not going to support the addict. And sometimes if we're at the very end, it really can be the, I need to leave because unfortunately I don't see you as much anymore. I only see the addict, but I hope you get it. I hope you do this. And that's what my letter looked like to Mitchell. And again, you're going to read it in that time frame again. Other things again that we just talked about that you can do. Free resource out there, okay? Salvation Army. They have a free recovery program. So if you don't have the money to pay out of pocket, which is astronomical and it's understandable, if your insurance doesn't cover, here is one thing. The Salvation Army has a recovery program, okay? Another one is, if you can, it's okay for you to do it because it's toward recovery. Get a list of AA or NA meetings right in your area. Print it out so that you have that resource to slide over the paper. Maybe call up your insurance company, see what therapists are covered under your insurance. Slide that over the table. Call the insurance company, see what inpatients and outpatients it covers. Slide that over the table. And again, also, you can reach out to Mitchell and I if you have that insurance company. Take a picture front and back, okay? And family members, yes, I'm talking to you. This is things that you can do for your loved one because it also helps us with that guilt that we think that we're doing something wrong because we're detaching with love or we're walking another path now. Again, it goes back to what I expressed in the beginning of this. You are not abandoning somebody, okay? You need to really understand that this was not just a random, you know what? First attempt, I'm going to leave someone. You're not going to do that. That's not what happens. Usually it's months and months and months, if not years and years of the same unhealthy behaviors always happening, okay? All the gaslighting, all the manipulation, all the empty promises from the addict of I'm going to do this and I'm not following through. So I need you to know that moment where you take your power back and you go, enough is enough. If I want a happy life, I can't keep putting it on my addict because my addict is not capable of giving me a happy life. Because it is not the true individual, it is the addict. An addict cannot give you healthy love, healthy communication, healthy time. It cannot give you that. The true individual, yes, it can, but we are on the whims of when someone wants to choose recovery, and we can't control that. So if the addict is constantly in your life, you're not doing something wrong by taking your power back and no longer being the victim and being the survivor and realizing, you know what? You are unavailable to me. And I can't keep basing my happiness off of you, because if I do, I'm never going to get it. So I will always be in victim mentality, because I am sitting there basically with my empty cup and going, keep pouring. I need you to pour into it to get happiness. But it's an addict. It's not going to happen. The true individual working recovery, yeah, you can work together, but you need to take your cup and go, where can I get that happiness? From my family that's been calling to me for a really long time, by investing my time, my energy, my focus into my children, by going back into my work that I am passionate about. That is where we need to go. That is why Taking Our Power Back. I want you to know you are not abandoning someone. You are making a conscious choice, a very difficult and hard choice to take your power back and respond to somebody else that has constantly been telling you, I don't want to stop drinking. I don't want to stop using. I don't want recovery. And here again, if you have someone that goes, but you're thinking, but Anna, they do say they want recovery. Well, it comes down to, are they doing it? We can say we want something for the rest of our lives, and it doesn't mean we're going to do it. Actions speak louder than words. So you're not abandoning someone. You're making a very difficult choice, okay, to come out of what I really believe, victim mentality, into survivor, and realize, okay, I can't keep focusing on somebody else's decision to make my life happy. I need to make happiness under my own 2 feet. And I'm realizing I need healthy communication. I need healthy love, and I'm not going to get it from my loved one in active addiction. And I can't continue to depend on someone to choose recovery. I need to actually look in the mirror and choose recovery for myself. I need to choose healing for myself. Okay? And again, how can we support our loved one? In all honesty, it's that. It's, if anything, doing it for ourselves, and that can be a possibility of leading by example. All right? So those are the things that I feel like we can really do, because we're not at that moment, even when they say we're abandoning them. No, you guys aren't. You're sliding over resources that you're actually taking the initiative to do for them, okay? And the fact of just getting it for them. But they're the ones that need to make the decision. And guys, I have seen a lot of times when people will slide over the AA programs or 12-step programs in their areas. You know, there's all different, and I'll let everyone out there know, here's some 12-step programs, because I know just the religious part sometimes of God makes people not want to go towards it. So let's name some other ones. So there is AA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous. There is NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. There is Celebrate Recovery, that is more Christian-based. There is Refuge Recovery, that is more Buddha-based. There are, out in Utah, there is Addicts to Athlete, which is all about 12-step programs for people that like that adventure, like that athlete, that type of thing. There are so many different 12-step programs around the area. There is a pagan 12-step. I actually joined that just the other day because, again, there are different spiritual beliefs out there. And let's find a program that fits for you, okay? Because I really do believe people that work a 12-step program that find a fit that's for them. Because again, some people might go, I don't believe in the Christian God. Okay, well, maybe there's other spiritualities. Do you believe in Buddhism? If you believe in Buddhism, go to Refuge Recovery. Do you believe in paganism? Then go to the paganism 12-step program. Okay, there's so many different programs that are out there. And if we find one that is passionate, we will put more time and energy and focus into. So I want families, if you're like, okay, I don't think this is it, then type in what you feel your loved one. Oh, here we go. Forgot about this one. Smart Recovery. Smart Recovery is more science-based, okay? It tells more about what's going on in the brain. Smart Recovery is actually a program that's both sides. It's not just for addiction. It's also for families. So I want to put that one in too. If you're going, well, Anna, all these other spiritual beliefs, they don't really hit home. My loved one doesn't want to talk about spiritual beliefs at all. Okay, smart recovery. Smart recovery is just science-based. So there's different programs out there. And why I do believe the 12-step program is powerful, and if you hear me keep saying, I'm not saying meetings, I'm saying 12-step. Because the 12 steps, no matter what spiritual beliefs that you find it in, Buddhism, paganism, Christianity, science, whatever it is for you, it is a program that is a different philosophy of how to live. Okay? That is why it's so important. Meetings are great, but thank you, Bridget. Craft. Craft is another one for families. They teach you different coping skills that is more reward-based and taking rewards away of who's in front of you. I don't think they go as far as separating the addict from the true individual. It's just a whole. But I feel like it can work, though, if we really learn how to separate the addict from the true individual. When the addict's in front of us, we're going to take away some rewards. When the loved one is in front of us, we're going to give rewards, which can be our time or different activities, things to do. And I find that very interesting because I'm just going to be honest here. That is what happens with what my mom's taught, and it's worked amazing for children. But I will actually say too, when it's done with children with behaviors of just working on one behavior, she will always say though, if again, so this is not for addicts. I'm going a little bit just in case if there's anyone out there that's with kids that are trying to challenge some behaviors. My mom would always say, focus on one behavior with your child. And if you have like a sticker chart, don't ever take stickers away. Don't ever take it away. What you want to do is you want to express your feelings and you just don't want to give another. Because what it can happen in a child is realizing that it takes all their hard work away. And that's what I'm also learning a little bit more with time, how we're always into time of, we have 5 years, that recovery and that sobriety thing, is because I do think it's a very hard thing for some people to come and be honest about, because they start to feel even more shame and guilt with time associated if they're going to lose all their time. It makes them feel like they're losing all their hard work, okay? But those are other programs, but the 12-step program is a philosophy of how to live. And if you work with another human being, which is called a sponsor, and it might be called different in other programs, when you work with another human being of how to work through these 12 steps, you're also being challenged. So for me, meetings are great to start off with, but I really believe if you want to get that recovery base, which I believe is challenging and unhealthy behaviors, you do have to work with another individual and work the actual 12-step program, because it's a way of thinking, of changing our thinking, our perspective, and a philosophy in which to live. So again, guys, slide that over the table. Slide over the therapist in the area. Slide over some inpatients and outpatients. And I know some people might have this question is, okay, Anna, what happens if they come and they go, I'm scared to do this? Do we help them still? Laura taught me, yes. If it is in recovery, it is okay for us to help. So what that would look like is, say if Mitchell had a massive relapse. I slide these over on the table and I let him know, though I will be honest, guys, for me, mine does go, if there's a severe relapse, I know this sounds very harsh probably to some people. However, please just remember that I've done the dance for 9 years and I've seen what's worked and I've seen what's not worked. And I know that I can hold all the boundaries in the world. And unfortunately, if Mitchell's in a massive relapse, it doesn't matter what boundaries I hold. It helps me. Don't get me wrong. It keeps me out of the insanity. But the knowledge that those boundaries showed me, especially this last time, is I hold all these boundaries and it protects me. But it also showed me that I'm going to live a life not with my partner. I'm going to live a life alone from a romantic partner. I'm not going to have healthy communication. I'm not going to have time spent. So what it did basically come to is the addict just saw me still around. If the addict saw me just breathing around it, unfortunately in my case, it wasn't going to take the initiative to do anything, you know? So I needed to get myself out of that situation physically. And so if Mitchell continues to relapse and I slide all these things over and he's not choosing it, I know this sounds harsh, but Mitchell's not welcome here anymore. Okay? He can either choose to go back into an inpatient, thank you again, thumbs up, inpatient or outpatient in the area, or he can go back to Washington, Pennsylvania, but he is not welcome here, especially after I've had True Individual Mitchell look at me and basically say, Anna, I don't want Marie Reese to see the addiction. Well, that means then the addict is not welcome at all in our lives, but if Mitchell all of a sudden comes and goes, Anna, I really want to do this, but my brain's not really working. I'm nervous to do this. I'm so overwhelmed. I want to go to an outpatient. Then we can sit down together and I could go, okay, Mitchell, let's call administration together, and we sit down together and we get Mitchell into outpatient, and then it's Mitchell's decision if he wants to do it or not after that. So it's okay for us to do that. I will tell you though, guys, if you do that and they don't follow through, you detach again. You absolutely detach again, because remember, you already provided them the resources. You have already found someone that will accept them. Then they need to take the initiative to do it now. Because we can't keep doing a life of, oh, I want to do this, so you put the work in, and then all of a sudden they don't want to do it. That's not healthy for us, and it's not healthy for our relationship, because you will start to build resentments, okay? So those are the things that I feel like we can really do. And of course, guys, I just don't need to reiterate as much because I've done multiple. It's holding those boundaries. That's what you can do for them. That is healthy support for them. Holding hard boundaries, which may look like absolutely detaching with love. And again, guys, let me just clarify this before ending. You want to express your boundaries. You do not just want to randomly detach, okay? You need to verbalize. That way they understand why this is happening. Why is the detaching occurring? So what it can look like is, I know you're lying to me, and because of that, until you are ready to tell me the truth, I'm going to detach. Okay? That's what that looks like. You need to express it. You can't just take it away. And because it's never going to be helpful for them. And truthfully, I think that's us taking an easy way out. Instead of leaning into the heart and going, this is what my needs are, they're not being met, and this is why I'm detaching, okay? So we always want to express our boundaries before we act upon them. That way it also helps our loved one in addiction realize, well, my loved one said this hurt him, this is why they're detaching. And again, remember, consistent boundary, same boundary each time, it helps them see it more. So those are the things we can do for our loved one to help them out. Again, guys, all different programs out there, and again, you can reach out to Mitchell and I anytime if you have an insurance card. We have helped multiple people get into rehabs out in Utah. So again, just if you're ready, just reach out, okay? Does detaching mean ignoring them? No, it doesn't. As long as you express why you're detaching. If you do not express why you're detaching and you just leave, that is more of getting up and ignoring. I want to clarify this though. If you are in an unsafe environment, it does not matter about expressing it. Get the hell out. Okay, so I just want to clarify that. If you're in an unsafe environment right now and there is, threat to your life, don't express anything. Just get the hell out. Okay, I just want to clarify that. If your environment is somewhat safe, you do want to express your boundaries and then detach. So if you just ignore them and you're not talking to them, you don't tell them why you're not talking to them, that's actually narcissistic behavior. I learned that afterwards. I used to do that all the time. And there's the bald eagle flying across. You guys are not going to be able to see this though. The bald eagle just flew by. We live on a massive lake and the bald eagle just flew by. And I think that's a perfect time to end it. So no, just make sure though you express your boundaries before leaving. And you know what? I'm feeling compelled to do this before we leave. We're going to do what we used to do. It was one of my favorite things, especially how I talked about last night was the full moon and how I make moon water and Marie Reese makes moon water and she loves it. And how if you're under the moon, we're all connected. So guys, we're going to do this. We haven't done this in a long time. I want you to put your hand over your heart. And what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and I want you to take a deep breath in and out. And I want you to ask yourself how you feel today. And I don't want you to criticize it. I don't want you to reject it. I just want you to feel it, because that is the first step to healing and recovery, is accepting how we feel and not putting us down for it. So take that deep breath in and out and ask yourself how you feel. Ready? Deep breath in and out. Second deep breath in and out. What we're going to do is we're going to picture this beautiful gold healing light coming in, and we are going to exhale anything that no longer serves us. We are going to let go from things that we do not need. So you're going to inhale and you're going to breathe in all that beautiful healing energy, and you're going to exhale anything that does not serve you. Ready? Hand over the heart. Close your eyes. Deep breath in and out. Last deep breath in and out. What we're going to do is we're going to realize that no matter where we are in the world right now, we are all connecting in the breath. We are all connecting in this life force energy all together. So no matter where you are, no matter what time it is, we are going to be connected right now when we close our eyes and we take our deep breath in and out. And I want you to feel that connection and know that you are never alone in this battle. There is always someone in it with you fighting, okay? So deep breath in and out, and picture everyone with you on this breath, okay? Hand over the heart, deep breath in and out. That is my favorite one because I just always picture in my mind. I just feel all this different energy and I see these lights coming on. And you just feel very powerful because you realize you're not alone and you're protected and you're loved. And you are. Okay, guys? So I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. Remember, do something for you, even if it's 5 minutes. Take that self-care because you are important, all right? I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.